Hey guys, I'm a little tight. I started to record a video, and I was going in. It was so good, and I realized that it stopped recording because I ran out of space on my phone. So I'm gonna try to pick up where I left off, or continue the conversation. I don't even know. I'm just gonna start over. How's that? So in the video that I attempted to make, I was talking about elections coming up. I was talking about how I'm not, not that I'm not, no, I'm not gonna make apologies for it. I'm probably not gonna vote. I know, a lot of you are probably like, people died for us to vote. I understand all of that. I get it. I so get it. I so get it. But understand this. I don't think they died for us to settle either. I'm going to do some research as far as other options and other parties, even though I know that person won't win. But that's the only way I'm going to vote. I don't feel like choosing the lesser of two evils is an appropriate thing. I also feel like choice is an illusion. Not to sound like a conspiracy theorist or anything. It's just based on my experiences, what I've seen. Like, they cannot leave anything up to us. And presidential elections are not based on just our votes. It's I believe the Electoral College. So we're thinking that it's all just based on popularity, and it's not. Trump, to me, obviously a bigot and a racist. I just feel like this is a long celebrity, or not celebrity, but reality TV show, and he's just the star. It's hard for me to take him seriously. I still can't believe that he's still a candidate. When he became a candidate, I was just like, what? Confused. As far as Hillary goes, because Trump speaks for himself, like, no human being on this earth should support him. He's just, it's disgusting, the stuff that he says, the stuff that he believes. He's he's an attention whore. He's gonna do anything for ratings and attention. As far as Hillary goes, I don't really like her either. She's sneaky to me. I haven't been following too much. I haven't been following campaigns too much. It just gives me anxiety. I don't want to watch. I don't want to hear. And maybe it's ignorant, but I'm energy driven, and I don't think it's conducive to any part of me. Politics is a part of a system, and this country is a corporation. We're all dollar signs, pretty much. They use race to pit people against each other. And not that it's not an issue, but it's just really sad that people can't see that, you can't choose how you're born. You can't choose what color you are, obviously. You can't choose what gender you are. Well, nowadays, I don't know what's going on with that, but you can't choose what color you are, and to not like somebody, or to discriminate against somebody, or to think somebody is less than just because of the color of their skin. That to me screams insecurity. That to me screams that you don't like yourself very much, and that you're intimidated by something that you don't know or don't understand. But I will probably won't be voting, to be very, very honest with you. Corporations, like I said before, corporations, and they run the country. You can just tell by their disinterest in human life. Like, what quality of life do we have? They stress education, and that you need an education to be successful. Yet you come out of high school, they don't teach you anything about financial literacy, and you're forced to take out thousands of dollars in loans if you want to go to school and graduate. Because not all of us have that family help. Not all of our families have the means to send us to college. Not all of us get good grades enough to stand out to get a full scholarship. Not that we don't get good grades, and not all of us play a sport. So it's a sucky place to be for not the mediocre student, but for the average student, because it's hard to, it's easier for undergrad, I suppose, but the way that everything is set up, to me, is not for your success. Like, I did everything the right way. You know, I made sure I finished school and everything, and I couldn't even get a job in my field. And I was looking like I think it was over a year before I graduated, just to make sure. I couldn't find a job in my field. And the salary that I came out making was a quarter of my college tuition yearly. And then you have to pay, you know, 6 months after you graduate, which is crazy, because if they can't guarantee you a job, you won't be able to pay that money back. I mean, when I first graduated, I was paying $800 in loans a month. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about the elections and see how you guys feel about it. Like, leave some comments to give me feedback or something. Am I the only one who feels like settling is not an option? I don't think so, but I think people are scared to say that they're not going to vote. And like I said, the power of choice is an illusion to me. I'm not saying that's the law. I'm saying to me. I don't think either candidate is appropriate. I think also that nothing is left up to chance. You know, I think that all this stuff is predestined, as you will, or preset, you know, because there's a system to keep in place. They're not going to compromise that with votes and stuff like that. Like, that's all an illusion. Like, everything is set in place. There's nothing left to chance. Nothing. Everything is designed. We get caught up in the isms, the racism, the genderisms, we get caught up in so many different things, and that keeps us all separated. And I'm not saying that, because I do feel like black people collectively as a whole need to do better, but that's a whole nother story. But I feel like as human beings, like, we don't get the bigger picture that we're all connected in some way. And racism especially, like, I mean, back in slavery days, they had white slaves as well. You know, it was just, there were poor people, and then there were rich white people. And when they saw that poor white slaves and poor black slaves were combining forces, it was like, nah. They might overthrow what we got going on. So instead of changing the system, they just pit poor whites against poor slaves, and they gave the poor whites jobs to kind of keep tabs on, you know, the poor slaves. So it was just like, it's pretty messed up, and it's kind of sad to me that, you know, poor white people don't understand that it's not about race as much as it is about class. How can we pose a threat when we're in the same boat, if not worse, as you? Doesn't make any sense. What are we stealing from you? I just want a legit answer, because you probably don't have one. You probably don't even know what's going on. You just have all this anger and misplaced trust, and you need someone to blame. So why not blame black people? As far as black people go, you know, I just feel we need to be a lot more accountable individually and collectively. I think a lot of us tend to blame, do a lot of blaming, and I'm not saying that you don't have a right to blame. You absolutely have the right to blame and to feel the way you do, because I have those feelings too. But one thing, just on an individual basis, let's take race out of it. When you want to change or do better for yourself, and you've been through, or if you've had a traumatic life, a catastrophic life, like things have just been crazy for you, like, you know, a lot of us will blame the people that hurt us. That's valid and that's understandable. But after a while, at least for me, you know, you get tired of living out of that narrative. Why am I letting this person control how I feel and how I live the rest of my life? I want to be happy. And you're letting someone who's in probably boatloads of pain, who didn't know any better, you know, not that that gives an excuse, but people operate out of their state of consciousness. So they do what they know. As ignorant as that is, and that sounds, that's just the truth. And it's up to you to change your life. Like, it's up to you to make that change, that, you know, make that difference. And a lot of that comes with, if you feel angry, when people do things to you and you feel angry, you got to investigate that. It's not only about what that person does to you, and I've spoken about this in other videos, it's about the feelings that's coming up that need to be addressed. And I think a lot of us just place all of that on the other person, but we don't have control over the other person. So what are we supposed to do about that? Wait till they apologize? What if that never happens? Then what are you gonna do? You're just gonna live and be angry? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't want to live that way, and I don't want to live out of somebody else's narrative or have somebody else have power over me and my happiness, because I want to be happy. So I kind of feel the same thing with black people. Like, what I tend to see is a lot of people blaming God and claim to not believe in God, which to me doesn't make any sense. If you don't believe in something, then you're not going to take your time to discredit it. But you know, they and then blame white people, and then blame this, and then blame that. And I'm not saying that there doesn't need to be any change, but us waiting for validation from our oppressors, us waiting for our oppressors to change the system that they created specifically a certain way, to keep it a certain way. I mean, what exactly are we waiting for again? Oh, there's a gnat in here. Like, what exactly are we waiting for again? We waiting for them to validate us. And that's just really what it is. That's what it looks like to me. Like, you know, we want to be accepted at these award shows. We want recognition. Why do we want recognition from them? They don't give a shit about us. And I'm not grouping all of them together. I'm just talking about the racist, ignorant people, because there are ignorant black people as well that think that bashing white people is the solution as well. It's not. It's really not. As much as we like to blame all white people for our problems, I'm telling you, it's not the solution. It's not. I don't have a concrete solution, but I think the start of it is taking accountability individually to make yourself better, to work on forgiveness, and not just of people who hurt you, but of our oppressors as well. And it's not to say to be a doormat. I'm not saying to do that either. You know, be aware of the issues, recognize the issues, understand what they are, but understand that being angry is not going to fix it. Emotionally reacting is not going to fix it. I'm just saying. Wouldn't you rather be emotionally and mentally prepared to do something versus when something happens, when somebody's murdered, when things are already like happening, then you react to it? That's not really coming up with a plan. Like, that's just reacting every time something happens and getting mad every time something happens. I mean, it's the same thing in your personal life. Like, you getting mad every time somebody does something to you, that's just, you don't have peace then. It's just like you letting that person control your emotions, your mentality, your spirit. Like, I'm not willing to do that. Like, life was rough for me. I'm not willing to give that power to anybody. So I just feel like the same is applicable to black people, that we can, I'm not saying it's the overall solution, but I think that's a hell of a start, to just take accountability for our actions, to teach our kids what self-love really is, what respect really is, how to honor our women, how to honor each other, how to honor our spirit. Like, we discredit that stuff so much. You don't got to believe in God to honor your spirit. I mean, I do, and I feel like that's the root of everything. There's something higher than me that I hold myself accountable to, and that only makes me a better person. It doesn't, I don't tie myself specifically to a religion, but I feel like black people tie God to Christianity, and because of the history of Christianity, they just refute God altogether. And you can't tie something that's man-made to something that's infinite. Like, you gotta just think about it. Like, and honestly, having God, being closer to God and knowing God for myself, and not through necessarily the Bible, or like, the Bible helps, and that's about us. I'm just saying, I've said that before, that's about black people. You know, and you can apply that to your real life. It's just, for some of us, I think it's hard to be accountable for our behavior. We rather say it's their fault. Why do they have to treat us like this? Why do they got to do, and I understand all of that stuff is true, but when are we going to take responsibility for ourselves and create something different? That's the only way we're going to create something different, because living out of our oppressors' narrative that they've created for us is not the solution. Like, and you can see it, that is not the solution. I'm not saying we're not making strides, but it's not the solution. Like, we have to attain for something more, for something bigger. I believe that rooting yourself in God, you know, teaching self-love, not only, or understand what self-love is, so that we can teach it to our children. Like, I'm trying to learn all that I can now so I can teach my children to be better than me, because the revolution might not start with me, but it might start with my children. Like, we got to start somewhere. And all of us cannot be, you know, all of us are not meant to be on the battlefield like that. Some of us are meant to prepare so that we can prepare others to be on the battlefield. And that's okay, because everybody's role is important. But overall, I just wanted to say, like, I'm not voting. I'm probably not going to vote. I'm going to research other ways to, I don't know, maybe vote for someone else, possibly from another party, because there are other parties. They just push Democrat and Republican because of their agenda. But I'm going to look for other options. If there's really no other solid options, I'm probably not going to vote, because I don't believe in choosing a lesser evil. I believe black people need to do better individually first, and then collectively, you know, so that we can create more of a foundation for ourselves to be strong in, and not have our validation and security be weighed by our oppressors, because that's what we continue to do. I mean, it's psychological, but that's what we continue to do. And it's hard to unlearn those behaviors, but if you apply individually first, and people can see the way you live your life, you can inspire other people and change the world. Literally. Like, you start with yourself, you can change your community, you can change another person's life, and they can change the world. That's just how it works. So that's why you got to start with yourself. Like, you can't just wish for all these things and then go out and you're not healed. Like, if you're not healed, you're going to continue to emotionally respond to things, and that's just not conducive to building a solid foundation for yourself and your personal life, and then black people as a whole, you know, as a collective. I don't have all the answers, but I think it's a good place to start. And I think incorporating God is also a great place to start. You know, stop tying God to Christianity. Find God for yourself. And if you really want it, and you truly desire it, and you're truly open to it, instead of discrediting something you truly don't understand, because you're not going to fully understand an infinite power. But if you put the questions out there, that's what you're going to get. The universe is going to slowly bring it to you. So if you want it, it's attainable. You know, if you want the truth about God and who God is and who's supposed to be outside of the confines of religion, then you can find it if you really want to. But I think black people just need something else to blame, so they just blame God for everything. And people that misrepresent God, because there's a lot of black churches that misrepresent God. There's a lot of Sunday churches that misrepresent God. And for those of y'all who don't know, I'm gonna let y'all know real quick, because this is a whole nother video. Sunday's not the Sabbath. It's the nights y'all party is the Sabbath. You know, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. So technically Saturday's the Sabbath, if you want to be technical. But so yeah, that's my take on those issues, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys watch, and thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting, and please leave comments. I want something to respond to. Please leave comments. Leave feedback as to how, you know, if you feel these videos could be better. I'm open to feedback. And you know, thanks for watching. That's pretty much it.